We talked about Minnesota was going to come in here a little rested, with a more sense of an urgency, not necessarily because of our last game, but because of their last game. That's what a veteran team does. We want to make sure we establish some presence on the defensive end early, and we didn't. With the heads of their snake, Sylvia and Maya. And then when you get that, it's hard to play catch up with any team in this league, let alone a team that has experience and savvy. Had a couple of people injured, but as coaches, you always hate that because it's an opportunity for someone who's anxious, that can, you would think it would disrupt things, but it doesn't, because at this level, players are ready to play, and then we're playing catch up. We got some looks that we would normally hit by some players, and we didn't. So when you couple those two things together, it makes it extremely difficult. I think we had 10 turnovers in the first half. They had 14 points. Did better in the second half, but that's not enough. You can't have that because teams will capitalize.
So you had 9 3-point attempts today, and you're averaging about 17. Was that just because there wasn't any space, or were they chasing your 3-point shooters?
I don't like averaging 17 because we're not shooting it well. I'm okay if it's 17 from the right people in rhythm. It's really about the people that's getting them. The reason why is because they're running you off the line, you're getting closer to the basket. That should favor in that regard. And look, it's not lost on me. There were shots that Candace would hit. There were some pull-ups that Victoria would hit. And you can't have that slippage when you start off poor defensively and you move the basketball, you get the wide open 16-footer and you miss it. So you just kind of complicate those things. But I was okay with the number of attempts.
I feel like Cappy in the fourth quarter progressively got more and more frustrated with the officiating to the point where she got the technical. Did it feel like she was looking for the technical at all in a way, being a veteran trying to step up in a way that maybe she wouldn't want the younger players to?
That's a good theory. Seriously, no, I'm not trying to be funny. That's just her being. She was being Cappy.
Yeah.
And I didn't react negatively towards it because it was one of those things where that's what she felt in that moment. I just told her next time, don't use colorful language, and maybe we can get away with it in her term. But that was Cappy being Cappy, and I'm not saying I condone it and I want it, but when you're in those moments, you can be who you are. And we had enough time, for the technical foul to get some momentum off of it.
Erica McCall does a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet. How important is her presence on the floor and on the bench even?
Yeah, I'll start with it on the floor. Sometimes it's not the rebound, it's the tip ball that gives us a possession. Sometimes it's not the screen, it's the roll to the right spot, which activates the secondary defender, so someone else is open. Sometimes, and I get it, the offensive side of the ball, that's the sexy side of the ball. And sometimes when players' shots aren't falling, they let that area slip, but not Erica. She's going to keep giving you that energy. It just gets increasingly difficult when some of the players who weren't playing the significant minutes are put in those positions to try to bring it back again when you're down. I think we were down 15 at one point, cut it to 4. But we just needed some offensive energy from that top 6-7 group to get us flowing.
In your first matchup with Minnesota, they might have underestimated you, or you flew under the radar. You guys put together a pretty complete game. How do you prepare your team for when Minnesota comes in here and you guys kind of have a target on your back? How do you prepare them for that?
I don't necessarily think it, target. They did 90% of the same things. We didn't. If the ball is on the right side of the court and Sylvia Fowles is on the right block, it needs to look like an Indiana Fever team pitcher with 5 players. That's for the rest of your basketball life when she's on the court. And the difference is when you don't do that and it's a hungry, irritated veteran team, they punish you the minute you do that. It's not like a team that figures it out 2 or 3 possessions later, and that's what they did.
With the next game on Friday, how much time are you going to spend looking back at the tape of this game and going over it with the team?
Well, you look at it because you're trying to figure out ways to move the basketball and get even better looks. But here's the deal. I walked in the locker room with the number 106 on my clipboard. That's how many points Atlanta put up. That's where it's going to be. You know, it's going to be one of those things where you can't give them transition. You got to take away their first and second actions. And then when they don't have that, they're going to put their heads down and try to drive to the basket. And if it doesn't look like an Indiana Fever team picture, they're going to get to the free throw line. So we'll look at certain things, but I swear at the highest level of basketball, it comes back to basic stuff. Am I in my stance? Am I seeing man ball? Am I at the 2-9? Am I at the nail? Did I move on the airtime of the basketball? It's not rocket science. It's discipline fundamentals that you have to stick to for longer periods of time.
This isn't necessarily game related, but today was Kids Day.
Yeah.
How important is it for those kids to be there, seeing what you guys do for a job every day?
It's great. You know, they kind of jolt you back to the other side of this, the community involvement, and just the look in their eyes or the number of hands that you're going to slap going to the locker room at halftime or coming out at halftime. It's what's special about the WNBA, and I'll take it another step further when you see so many little boys that are being involved and wearing the jerseys. We're doing it right, and we'll continue to do it.
So Eric, go ahead. Thank you. So Erica Wheeler, another bench person today, was a really big contributor again. It seems like she always changes the complexion of the game, kind of on the defensive end. Got out and transitioned a little bit today. How would you assess her performance off the bench?
You just did, and we talked about that. You know, we normally pop in 3 or 4 clips at halftime, and they involved her putting pressure on the basketball, delaying the start of their offense, denying the ball in the passing lane. They couldn't reverse it. And then passing ahead, getting us in offense. She did a really good job there. She knew she would get good looks. And even the ones that she missed, I thought for the most part they were good looks.
Eric Wheeler did an excellent job, obviously leading the defense, especially on the perimeter, and poking the ball away and getting some, some transition opportunities, going to the basket. But dealing with someone like Fowles, I would be able to deal with someone that with that big of a presence in the post.
It's tough, because the point guard was the player that was roaming a little bit and was able to double down and dig, and you take your chances. And D-Rob punished us. It's one of those things. But here's the thing. Is because when you get comfortable early, it's confidence. I think she was 0 for 6 from threes this year. Maybe she shot 10 in 5 or 6 years, 7 years, however many years she's been in the league. But when you get comfortable and confident and you play loose, those things fall in your favor.